Hey guys, it's Artie. I just felt like doing a check-in. I don't have tons to talk about, and I just have a handful of questions, but I did say I would do like another Rambler soon, and so here it is. I also said, or asked you if I should do a live one, and a couple of you were like, yes, I missed the last one, and I had a blast last time, so here's my plan, because I like to tell you my plans. In 2 weeks from today, shooting Bad Boy number 7. Very excited about it. I think it's gonna be a lot of work, because it's a little more elaborate. Yeah, and so then after that, I like to edit it, get it out there, and then I'll do the live Q&A again, like I did last time after I release it. And maybe that'll just be the thing. Like after I do a short, then I'll do the live one. It'll be extra motivation for me to get them out there because I love that live one. Anyway, so hi. So how are you? I've been very busy trying to get all my scripts written. I mean, it can't be every month just because, you know, of financing, but you guys are being very helpful with that. But I'm trying to get all my scripts written like for the next 5 or something, like done. I've told you many times I have drafts in progress, but I'm trying to get them done so I can just be like, now it's time to shoot this, now this, now this, now this, and I'm excited about it. Yeah, and I'm having fun. This next one is gonna be a bit more like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of got more of a sitcom vibe to it. I'm trying to get the show to grow, and so this one's gonna be a bit of a challenge, and it'll still be Bad Boy, like completely, but I'm excited. I'm really excited. Anyway, so that's going on. I'm writing a lot. I just did the commentary for Bad Boy on Probation that I'll put on Patreon. I think eventually maybe I should put these commentaries on YouTube because they're kind of fun, but I think at least. But if you like commentaries, I hope you'll check out the Patreon. It's like, again, it's like $5 or something, and you can watch these things. And also, those of you that are asking about merchandise, I sound like I'm doing all commercials. This is not a commercial, because listen, I finally made all the merchandise for Bad Boy and Successful People and put them up. You can probably see them down below right now. It's all of this Teespring integrated with YouTube thing. But the prices were automatically set like high, and I was talking to Daniel, my boyfriend, about it. I'm like, all these things seem kind of expensive for people. And he said to me, he's like, well, are you doing it so that people can have stuff, or are you doing it so you can make money? And I was like, that's a really good question. I'm like, I'm doing it so people can have stuff, because you guys are the ones that are asking for it. So I set the price where I'll get like $2 for anything that sells, and that'll go straight to the show. But the profit margin was set to be like $10, $12. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, who's gonna pay 25 bucks for a t-shirt? So check it out, I hope you like it. And here's the other thing, anything ideas you have, please tell me, because I design all this stuff and throw it up there. And if something sucks, tell me that too, and I'll take it down. But like, I can literally design anything related to the show and put it up there. Because I really wanted to do a t-shirt that said, I'm not Nick Jonas, to refer to the Bad Boy Comes Out, but you can't say Nick Jonas. So I couldn't do that idea. Would have been pretty good though. Anyway, all right, my advertisements are done. I sound like such a hack. I hate commercials, guys. I didn't even start with the questions. I've been on so many commercial auditions, and I rarely book them, and I think it's because I hate them. I hate watching them. I mean, if a commercial comes on TV, I'm like, no thanks. I'll go find something better to do with my time. I don't subscribe to like the commercial versions of Hulu or whatever. Like, I can't. So when I go to these commercial auditions, and it's like, this tastes amazing. And they're always like, be more grounded. I'm like, this tastes amazing. Teresa, my friend, actually wrote a whole skit about it. It's annoying. It's all about the look. You're there. It's a big cattle call. There's so many people you're up against that look exactly like you, like the cliche. You're there for like an hour. Then you have to drive back home in traffic. I'm like, this is stupid. This is not even acting. Like, I don't want to do this. I hope my commercial agent doesn't watch this. Yeah, it's never been my bag. And so I have there's a couple commercials I did a long time ago. They're on my YouTube channel, like a car commercial and like AM PM. And the voiceover on the AMPM one isn't even me. They dubbed some other guy's voiceover. I'm like, this is weird. And I look terrible in it. When didn't I look terrible in old videos? Anyway, oh my God, I'm super rambling. I am tired. I do not want this video to be 46 minutes long, even though you guys were awesome and watched the last one. But dude, what time is it? 7:28. I'm still in my work clothes. A little looser. And I just want to go to bed. Yeah, so if I wanted to talk to you first. Let's get to a question. Let's see where that takes us. Circa27, hello, wants to ask, has anyone recognized you in public, or have any of your students recognized you from these videos? I can answer yes to both of those now. Originally, the first one, has anyone recognized me in public? I got recognized in San Jose from Bad Boy when I was out at a bar called Splash with Daniel. And this guy, there's like these two guys talking kind of away from us. And this one guy's kind of like looking at me and I'm like, hi, you know, just because guys are looking at each other all the time at a gay bar. And then his friend comes over and he goes, are you on YouTube? And I went, yeah. He's like, oh, my friend's seen your stuff. And I was like, what? So then the friend comes over and he proceeds to like talk to me like that he's watched Bad Boy. It's kind of funny though, because what I think he said, because it was a little loud, he's like, yeah, I saw the first one, the Bad Boy, and I thought it was like, all right. He's like, and then I watched the second one, and I thought it was really funny. And I was like, I think he sort of like gave me a mixed review, but he recognized me, and we talked to him for a minute, and I was so flattered. And then I did like an Insta story, like, I got recognized, I'm YouTube famous now. By one person, but still it was in San Jose. It wasn't even like local. Or in Indonesia, where I think half of you are. Hi, Indonesia. So that was cool. And then students recognizing me from these videos. I'm sure there's some student watching me right now, hi student, seeing the other side of Mr. O'Daly. That sounds like a really bad movie. Yeah, a student just came up to me the other day and was like, are you on YouTube? And I was like, yeah. And he started asking me questions about it. And I was like, oh boy. That's what I don't want. Like usually students have recognized me, or not recognized me, they know I'm an actor. Most of them have seen me on this show called Haunted Hathaways because when they were kids and they like kids shows. Some of them have seen like Modern Family and things like that. But like this, I don't know. I don't want this to get around. Or who cares if it does, right? It's fine. Next question. Laurent, my favorite Sacramentoan. Sacramentoan, maybe we'll change the inflection. Are you ever going to do any location shooting? I'm not sure if that was an actual question for the Q&A because you were offering like, come to Sacramento. But I don't know. I would love to, but like most locations, I think I've said you have to pay for. And if you shoot outdoors, it's like noisy. If you've watched Successful People, there's one where we're like at a restaurant, season 2, episode 3. And we went to a real Mexican restaurant. We just asked the guy, the owner, like, can we shoot here? He's like, yeah, of course, anytime. It was amazing. So, but the problem is then you have like planes and trains and automobiles. Anyway, next question. Second Day 09. Second Day 09 asked a few questions, but I will break them up. First one, how do you create, this is all the Bad Boy stuff first. How do you create characters for your shorts? Do you sit down and write a description of each one on paper, or rather it goes spontaneously with the script and the plot? That's a good question. For me, I like to have an actor in mind, because then I can write for their voice and then sort of like make a character around it. For example, this Bad Boy coming up, I wrote a character. I wrote for the woman that's going to be my Scott's literary agent. And so I wrote it for my friend Lindsay, and I was like, so the whole time I'm writing it, I can hear her voice. I can imagine how she would say something if she was playing this part. So the part isn't her, but I see her playing the part, if that makes sense. She's the foundation, and then I build on top of it. And she almost didn't do it, guys, because she's kind of given up on acting. And then I was like, oh no. She just told me this morning that she's in. I'm so excited. Guys, you're going to love her. She's so funny. Anyway, so that's how I prefer to write. But then sometimes, yeah, while I'm writing, his character's voice will start to happen. Like when I was writing Mac, and I would think of jokes that were good for him, and then I'm like, well, that becomes part of the character now. Like, for example, in Bad Boy on Probation, at the end, we find out that he liked Lizzie McGuire because Hannah Montana sucked. So I'm like, okay, he's a Hillary Duff fan. And I'd written into scripts that obviously we're not doing now that he loved Lizzie McGuire and like loved Hillary Duff and like stalked her and things like that. So sometimes just putting something in a script makes the character come alive in front of you, even if you haven't thought of it. So it goes both ways, which is kind of a fascinating thing about writing. You think you're doing it, and then sometimes it's writing at you. And next question from Second Day 09, it says, tell us something about your work on scripts. Is it a routine, or are you writing only when you feel like it? Was it hard at the beginning when you started your writing journey? You know, like how to make a sentence funny in dialogue, or did you feel like a fish out of the water? So it's not a routine unless I have the time and the goal, like a deadline. For example, against Successful People, because that was a major writing undertaking, I did sort of have a routine where I loved to go and sit at my little, my computer turned off, a patio table when I lived at this other place and I had this cool little patio with an umbrella and stuff. Turn on, please. And I would have my Pepsi Max, because I like Pepsi during the summer. I like Coke during the winter. And I would listen to, maybe I've told you this before, this song called No Sleep by Janet Jackson. I play it on repeat for whatever reason. It just plays over and over and over again. I'm talking like dozens of times. And I write during that. And usually while I'm writing, I think all writers say this, they like write a line and they take a break for 30 minutes. I'm not that bad, but it's like the first draft is the hardest because you're thinking and like, where is this going? What is the structure? What has to come next? And it's literally like, you're trying to like, I don't know, be like an Avenger of some sort, or like, create magic out of the thin air. And it's very taxing and very tiring, mentally tough. And then sometimes you'll hit a streak and it just like flies out of you. I found that with songwriting, sometimes a song will just come out. There's a bad boy I've written that would happen later where it's like a bad boy is giving like a witness statement. And that one I wrote super fast. I'm like, oh my God, it just came. That's exciting. But then the more fun part is the rewriting, because then you can go over it and you're not trying to make the plot, you're just trying to make it better. Like a script doctor, I guess. That's pretty fun. So yeah, right now I'm writing, I guess, when I feel like it, but also when I have the time. When I can write at work, I definitely do, or on the weekends or something. The problem is, like, I just had spring break. It's not a problem, but Daniel was here all week, which I loved. But then it's like, okay, we have limited time together right now. Let's take advantage of it. And the writing kind of goes to the side, and his homework goes to the side. But 2 more months of that, and then he's here all the time. I can't wait. So, and also, was it hard at the beginning when I started my writing journey? Like, it's the same as always. Hopefully I've gotten better at it, but sorry, I got lips are dry. Like back in college, I wrote some musicals. I might have mentioned that before. I always called them plays with music because they weren't like song and dance musicals. They were like a story and then like we break into song every now and then. And it was just a way for me to get my songs heard. And those scripts, I feel like if I were to read them now, I'd be like, oh, this isn't very good, of course. Like, so I probably didn't spend as much time on it as I do on scripts now, especially when it's comedy, because you're trying to find rhythms, repetitions, patterns, characters, the straight man and the absurd woman, I wanted to say, but the other character, like, it's harder. It's harder now. Yeah. And how do you make a sentence funny? That's just from saying it out loud. That's why I don't like to write when there are people around, because I will be that crazy person that's talking to himself and saying everything out loud. And it's like you write a line though, and you're like, well, how can this line be funnier? I wanted to grab an example. I don't know if I can find one that fast, but it's I don't know. I can't find one this fast. This is like putting pressure on myself, but I guess here's the thing. So like, I'm writing, when I was writing this is the Christmas episode, and Scott says, so what happened to the trailer? Whitney says, hitched to the wrong wagon, if you know what I'm saying. Scott says, bad relationship. And I remember writing that and thinking, okay, Whitney has to say, take that literally, like she hitched it to the wrong wagon. What happened? Because I literally wrote it. It's just like, yeah, hitched to the wrong wagon. And now it's like, okay, make it funny. Because she could have just said, oh, he was a bummer of a relationship and taken it literally. But if you twist it, make it a surprise, usually comedy is someone taking something that should be a play on words and they take it literally. So that was that. And then she gets into her whole monologue about her bra burning. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. The final question from Second Day 09 is, who are your favorite comedy characters? I don't know if you mean of who I wrote or you mean it at large. I think you mean at large. I was just texting with my friend Zoe, and we were discussing how brilliant Julia Louis-Dreyfus is. Julia Louis-Dreyfus? I still don't know, guys. Why can't you just like phonetically give it to us or something? I never know how to say L-O-U-I-S. Louis? Louis? I actually did that to a student the other day. He's like, it's Louis. And because I called him Louis. I was like, sorry. Anyway, so I guess that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. On Seinfeld. She's Elaine. Elaine. That show is all about Elaine. She's the most brilliant. And now Veep, which is the funniest show. So I love Selena Meyer. I love Elaine Bennis. I like female characters a lot. On Friends, Rachel and Phoebe were my favorite. But it's also because the actresses were so good. I like good actors with the characters. All of the Golden Girls. Which Golden Girl are you? Comment below. Which Golden Girl do you think I am? I'd love to know. I mean, you could say Dorothy, because she's a substitute teacher. You could say Rose, because she's kind of bubbly. You could say Blanche. You could also just say Sophia, because I'm old. Maybe I'm all four of them combined. Anyway, those are my favorite comedy characters. Guys, the Golden Girls. Should I talk about this for a minute? When I was a kid, I videotaped them all. Every episode. I missed one. Oh my God, there was this one episode. If you know Golden Girls, there's the episode where Blanche's niece comes to visit, and she meets a pilot, or she meets someone on the airplane or something, and she keeps wanting to go out with a man instead of being home with Blanche. She's got the southern accent. And I missed it the first time it aired. No, it aired and my VCR messed up, and so then I'm like, I gotta get it on the repeat, because I was like a very I don't know, particular child. I was talking about this with Daniel. Maybe I should talk about this too. And so then when it re-aired, I was like, I gotta get it this time. And I think it just forgot to record. Like I said it to record and it didn't. I'm like, why do I always miss the one with Blanche's niece? Made me very upset that I did not have the complete collection. At any rate, I had them on all these videotapes labeled by season, and I would watch them repeatedly. Anytime I could, especially when my parents went out for the night, and then I would just I get to be in the family room all by myself. I will put a Golden Girls tape in and just play 13 episodes, and I'll just fall asleep on the couch, probably eating brownies or something. It was the best. It was the best. And then I started taping bunches of shows. I taped Friends and Seinfeld and other things as I got older, but Golden Girls started as a kid when they first started rerunning them. What was I gonna say about that? I don't know. I guess I was going to talk about how I was weird as a kid. I went to the movies with Daniel the other day. Okay, 17 minutes in, we're doing okay. And I told him on the way in, I'm like, did I tell you that I used to time movies? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to time every movie from when it started, and I made my family stay through the end credits because I had to get it from start to finish. And he's like, why would you do that? I forget what his guess was, but I'm like, well, the thing is, my theory was when it came out on video, so weird, you guys, I wanted to see if the time matched the time that I wrote it down as. And I don't think I ever wrote it down. I'm not even sure if I ever checked. I just had to time movies. It's weird, guys. Any psychologists out there that can diagnose that? And that's one of many things. Maybe I shouldn't tell you all this. This could be used against me at some point in time. I mean, I'm not that weird anymore. I don't time movies, but do you want to know more? I feel like I'm confiding. I'll tell you one thing, because this was actually a big problem for me. I learned to type in 7th grade on an actual typewriter, because yes, again, it was a long time ago. And I was really good at it. I picked it up super fast and my fingers just flew. But once I learned to type, I couldn't stop typing everything in my head. So if I was reading something, what's the next question? I read in an interview that you shot the entire first season, I'd be like, I read in my head, my fingers would be going, I read in an interview. And I would read slowly because I was forcing myself to type every word. Isn't that weird? It was so frustrating because I was also the kid that would get the calendar section for the paper and read it every day. But once I learned to type, I'm like, this is a nightmare because I can't control my brain from typing everything. Thank God I outgrew that, but it was years, you guys. It was years. I'm a weird person. Yeah. Anyway, should I go on to the next question and stop talking about how weird I am, /was/am? All right. So David Patterson, this question I was just saying. I read in an interview that you did the entire first season of Successful People in 3 days. My question, are you freaking kidding me? I'm not kidding you. And if you haven't told it already, that's a story I'd like to hear. Yeah. If you've seen Successful People, season 1 and season 2, they're 8 episodes each, 8 and 8. The first season, they're 4 to 6 minutes. Second season, they're 6 to 12. And the first season, we shot in 3 days. Second season, we're we need more time. We did it in 6. We were going to do 9 episodes, but we cut one out to keep it in 6 days. And it was hard. I do not recommend it. Guys, there's another web series I did called How to Get Featured on Deadline. We did 5 of those in a day. It requires people to be on top of their game, not a lot of downtime, not a lot of takes, not a lot of coverage, so you can't get all the setups you want. For example, in the very first episode of Successful People, like I feel like you see my profile a lot while I'm talking, and while that's good for when I'm talking to one character, like I can be talking here, but then once I start talking over here, you should move the camera here. And we didn't. We just left it like that. And it drives me crazy. But if you don't have the time, you don't have the time, you know? But we shot season 1 in the middle of a freaking heat wave. It was August 2015 or 16. 16, I think. 15. Oh my God, was it 2015? Anyway, yeah, and it was like 100 degrees. So you couldn't run air conditioning. We would use the same room, like we did 3 episodes in a loft, so we would have to like do part of the episode here, part of the episode here, part of the episode here, and like dress it to look differently, and just have really long days. Meanwhile, Teresa was like, I don't know, 7, 8 months pregnant during the whole thing. It was hard work, but it's not impossible. I would love to do more than 1 bad boy in a day, but I just don't want to keep everyone long, you know? Plus it'd be twice the cost, but we usually do them in like 4 hours or so, but you could do 2 in 8. I mean, guys, a TV show, they really do like 12 to 16 hour days every day. We're talking like the hour-long dramas, not like the multicam sitcom, hour-long. When I was a stand-in at Body of Proof, you'd get there at 6 a.m., you'd probably be there till 6 p.m. or later. And then as the week goes on, because you have to have 12 hours from when you wrap to when you go back, it would get later and later. So if we went from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., the next day we start at 8 a.m., then it would probably go to like 9 p.m. So then you start at 9 a.m. the next day, and it gets later and later. Whew, it's exhausting work, you guys. Anytime, if you work a 9 to 5 and you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, you should try being on a TV set, because as a crew member, because there's no rest. Actors, they can take little breaks. All right, there's one last question from the Ocean's Wonders. This is a personal question. It says, what works about the age difference in your relationship and what doesn't work? That's because my boyfriend is 18 years younger than me. But doesn't feel like it. It only feels like it when, as I tell him he does something that's super millennial, you know, because he can't help it, because he is one and he's younger than me. But he is so what works about it is like, I think what works about it is our personalities. Like, I'm such a late bloomer that I still feel like a kid in some ways. Not actually, but I'm just kind of, I don't know, not a typical adult. And then he seems to, I was just thinking about this, like he's so grounded and has such a clear sense of who he is, doesn't really get fazed by things, where I'm super emotional. He balances it. And I'm like, God, I wish I had his poise at that age. I barely have it now. So in terms of what doesn't work, it's just, nothing doesn't work. My best friend Lisa said this to me the other day. She was like, do you ever find like someone, like a millennial, do you have any problems with that? Because she was asking, because I date one. I'm like, well, she's like, in terms of like being interested in what you're interested in. And I said, Daniel doesn't care about things that happened before he was born. Like, I try to tell him about like Madonna. He's like, okay, he doesn't care. He didn't know what Vogue was until I played it for him last summer, which I guess is fine. It's his generation. But at the same time, I feel like this is great stuff. Why don't you want to know? Why aren't you even curious? He just wants to hear the new stuff, like Ariana Grande and Kim Petras and Aluna George, like all the time. So that's the frustrating part. And Lisa was like, yes. She's like, I feel so invalidated. Like, why don't they care about what I grew up with? But then, I don't know. Did I care about what people older than me liked when they were younger? You know what I mean? Like, I was into disco when I was a little kid. Like, I was into Donna Summer. Like, that was Hot Stuff was my very first favorite song. I would literally do this sort of dancing to it. Literally. And, but like 60s music, I don't know. I'd listen to my mom's 45s, but I wasn't like clamoring to like listen to the Beatles or anything. You know, I wanted to listen to ABBA. I love when I can somehow incorporate one of my album covers without even trying. Do you guys know all the album covers up here? There's only one recent one, actually. Maybe I do need to. That's, I guess, the nice thing about dating a millennial as well. He'll introduce me to some stuff I didn't hear, but I kind of stay on top of it. Like, I love knowing what's new and current. Although, gosh, the music today. Oh my God, I sound like an old fogey. I don't know, I miss like chords and melodies. Like some of it is like, just like, oh my God, what song is that? It could be any song, right? It could. It was kind of Seven Rings though. I want it, I got it, I want it, she thinks, just about it. Like, what? What about like, I want to dance with somebody? Like a melody. Anyway. So that's all the questions. Do I have anything else to talk to you about? I think 25 minutes is like long still, but like decent enough, right? Hopefully no one will be like, what the hell is this? I'm obviously not going to get 5 bad boys out before my birthday, but I'm still hoping to make it to 20,000 subscribers. That'll just be by chance and luck, but I'm getting there, which is very exciting. I'm very thankful for you, for staying subscribed, for being excited for the things I make, for watching these Q&As, and for contributing in any way you can, whether that's sharing the video. Lots of you share the videos. I just discovered that someone bootlegged it and dubbed it in Russian. YouTube gave me an alert, like, you have a copyright alert. I was like, what did I do? And it turns out that somebody reposted Bad Boy and it's in Russian. I was like, this is kind of amazing. Someone also bootlegged it and just put Vietnamese subtitles. I was like, well, that's not cool. Just send me the subtitles. I'll add it to my own. Oh my God, I sound like Mickey. All right, I guess I should eat. I guess I should relax. I just kind of feel like I'm hanging out with you and it's kind of nice. All right, I miss Daniel a lot. If you're watching this, Daniel, I miss you. It's so quiet. Listen, it's so quiet when I'm not talking. All right, well, I hope you're having a good day. And I have put on a lot of weight and I really want to lose weight, but I am not going to change my sign off because I firmly believe you, as well as I, should eat a cookie.